downstairs, goats, horses, upstairs, visitors who are staying for a week to 3 weeks. We have a couch up there and a lounge seat and beds. So multifunction. Goat alarm clocks in the morning. We were looking for. We were in France working at a center that was inspired by Gandhi, and it was a ecumenical Christian community, but bringing people from all traditions there to do service. And we wanted 20 things if we were going to come back to the United States. We put up a prayer, and a week later a friend called and said, "I found your place." We had said anywhere in the United States, and I said, "Tell me about it. Don't tell me where it is, Gary. Just tell me what." You're biking distance to Amtrak. You're near a university. There's a medical school there. There's other eco-villages nearby. They started listing everything. It was an Amish farm. There's pre-existing orchards, barn. So I had 18 of the 20. And so I said, "Okay, tell me where it is." He's like, "The Plate of Missouri." So Sarah and I got donations and got it sight unseen. We just went for it and biked here, crossed by boat, and then took a train and then biked onto the land with just our panniers to start 3 years ago. But this barn was one of the things that was exciting. This is Amanda, who you met before. She heads up our horse operation here and helps out and lives nearby. And have you all met Sarah? This is Sarah, my beloved. That is Mom. And so the barn was already here, but it represents what we kind of like about the structures. It's all local oak, a lot of recycled metal, and the Amish did a barn raising. So they called and said, "Hey, we got all the wood," and 60 people showed up, and in a weekend, this barn was raised. No cost, exchange. And so, amazingly, I have something called Amish insurance, where if your house burns down, instead of having to rely on an unknown entity for your insurance, profit-driven, even though they're doing a function, you rely on your community. What a radical idea. So with Amish, if your house burns down, Amish within a big distance will come to rebuild it. So again, not only you don't have to pay insurance, but you have the love of taking care of each other, which modern society is great. I can live in the city, I don't have to see anyone, I can go to the grocery store, go to work, and I don't have to interact with anyone all day long. And that's progress. We're human beings. We thrive with community. And so by living simple, we actually have to rely on each other again. And some of the leading ailments in our culture are isolation, depression. Those things happen when we lock our doors, we don't know our neighbors. And so if we are dependent on each other again, all of a sudden we build trust, we build community, all the things that people are lacking. And so it's that thing, modern society does a lot of amazing things, and also it can have a lot of cost. I think of Facebook. In the beginning it's great. I haven't talked to them in 20 years. And so in the beginning curve, you actually have more connection. You're reconnecting with old friends, and that's wonderful. But then my friend Mark, who's from Portland, Oregon, came up with this. It comes to the point where you plateau. You now have 888 friends. You're poking them. Poke, 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 poke. It's a Friday night. We're computer free here, so I was in Eugene visiting friends. And show me how Facebook works. Friday night, 9 p.m. She gets on. These are all my friends that are on right now. I don't know, 25 people. Okay, what do you do next? We see what they're doing. Frying an egg and da-da-da-da-da-da. And so that's where you start to lose the curve. I had a friend talking to another friend, and they were in the cabin next door 100 feet away. An hour conversation about music. And so I started thinking, wait, they don't even know it. Like, they're not sitting together. And so that's when the curve goes, wow. So I think we're in that state in society where the benefits are starting to go on the downward curve. We're stressed, we're overwhelmed, everything's beeping. I go to my hometown, I go out to eat, and I have 5 minutes with my friend, they're like, hold on, da-da-da-da-da. Or you're walking down the street with your family, and your consciousness is split into 8 places. And so how do you get back to just being present? When someone is on their deathbed, they're not going to ask you to Facebook them. Like if you were going to see someone one last time, would it be over the computer screen or face-to-face? And when I go home, friends come together, my hometown, and they haven't seen each other for 6 months. They're living in the same town, and they email twice a week. And they all get together, and they're like, oh, Joey, hi! You're not just some little blip or picture. Here's my trip to Aruba. So again, how do we mindfully use these things so they don't take over with what is real, the people that we love? So again, this barn is representing just coming together again, living simple, depending on each other. And that dependency is good. We've been sold that independence is the best way to be. When dependency gives meaning, you help someone and they help you. That, it seems to me that that's one of the greatest, richest things, is sharing. And what we're supposed to do is, you got to pay your own way, you got to do your own lawn, and you got to, and the superheroes a lot of times will pull up to someone, and they'll be doing yard work, and 20 of us will pull up and say, hey, can we help? And this one old guy stopped for a moment, he looked at us, and it was in Washington State, and then he said, no, I'm okay, but it's the first time someone has stopped to ask me that in 20 years. And so we stopped and we said, hey, he was maybe 80. We said, tell us about what it was like. And he said, you know, I never took the help, but just knowing every week a neighbor would come by and say, hey, do you need any help, Frank? Just knowing that brought a greater peace and connection. So it was amazing to us, like 20 years, and here's strangers coming through, the first people dressed as total freaks, offering to like help move his brick wall. So one of my homework assignments is start doing that. Look who's dressed in your dorm or in your community, and just a radical act of saying, hey, do you need any help? I see you're writing this paper. Can I come do dinner for you tonight? And then you might do that for them. And then the next day someone else comes, and I did this with the kindergartners yesterday. So look, if your mom gives you brownies and you take them to school, this is what happens in modern society where it's independent. I'm going to eat them all. I don't get brownies that often. I only get them once a month. That's it. You get brownies once a month. Scenario 2, sharing, abundance, loaves and fishes. Hey everybody, I got brownies. I'm going to eat one and I want to share them. Next day. Billy, he's got bananas. I'm going to share them with everyone. So you've gone to having brownies once a month to having some kind of surprise every day of the month. And that's again what happens, is that we have a group come down here and help us, and then we go and help at the community university garden. And it just feels like there's so much more than when we try to take it on ourselves. Anyhow, that's the barn.